Hey guys, Icy Cat here. The changes keep coming. With today's updated patch notes, we get a look at new buffs and nerfs that were unannounced to the operators, as well as some changes to core gameplay and mechanics. Want to know if your favorite operator received one of these unannounced buffs or nerfs? Stick around as I tell you all the info next. We've got a lot of changes coming with the patch notes for this newest season for Operation Void Edge, many of which were unannounced over the weekend's panels for both the Year 5 Season 1 reveal and the Year 5 roadmap. These unannounced changes are all gone over in this season's patch notes, and I will put the link for that below the video player so you can check them out for yourself. But I'll go over all of the new ones here that weren't covered over the weekend. The first surprising one is a rework for Recruit. They say to improve the Rainbow Six onboarding experience, we're assigning Recruit on a mission to lead and guide our new players. In Year 5 Season 1, Recruit will have a preset loadout for attack and defense instead of CTU-based loadouts. This will help ease the learning process and make Recruit an ideal pick for new players familiarizing themselves with the game. The first operator receiving a very unexpected change is going to be Castle. They are removing his M45 secondary weapon and replacing it with the super shorty pocket shotgun. So now Castle can take the UMP-45 with the pocket shotgun, allowing him to be able to pop hatches for rotations without needing to use explosives and retaining his SMG for longer range. Frost now sees a holographic scope added to her C1. For Goyo, falling onto his Vulcan shield will allow it to only collapse instead of explode and propagate fire. IQ receives a slight buff in that when she finds objectives such as bomb or the biohazard containers that were still hidden during the action phase, her detection will allow them to be revealed for all of the players on the team. So if you weren't able to find them on the drone phase, or if maybe all the stairs had mute jammers on them and you couldn't get up there even though you knew where it was, if she's now either above the site or underneath the site and she looks through and spots them using her gadget and it tags it, the entire team will now get that spotted for them as if it had been found by a drone. Next up are some changes for Legion, and most of these we knew about, but one of them wasn't explained clearly enough, so actually comes across as some new information. So Legion's goo mines are now visible to Legion only when he has direct line of sight and within 8-meter distance. This is to combat his using them as intel gathering devices. They've also removed the initial goo mine damage, so when they first step on them, you will no longer take that initial damage. But to offset that, and this was not explained over this weekend's panel, the goo mine damage will be increased from 4 points of damage per tick up to 6 points of damage per tick to help offset the loss of that initial damage. Furthermore, down but not out players are now immune to goo mines. Being down but not out will still trigger them, but the goo mine effects will not apply while a player is in that state. Another operator that we found out about over the weekend reveal but has some more expanded information here is Twitch. They want to make Twitch's drone now use a charge system similar to Echo's Yokai drones instead of a set ammo count. Drones will start with the maximum ammo count of 3 shots, and it will take 30 seconds to recharge a new shot. So the drone will start around with 3 shots instead of 5. It takes 30 seconds to fully recharge a shot, with a maximum carrying capacity of 3 shots per drone at a time. The drone's shot cooldown between shots is reduced to 1 second from 2 seconds, and drone taser damage reduced to 1 hit point, down from 10. Evil Eyes and Jaeger ADS gadget health also reduced to 1 hit point. Basically, they want to make the focus on her being an anti-gadget drone rather than harassing players and causing damage. Additionally, they've also increased the recoil again for Twitch's F2. Warden is getting some slight changes as well. His smart glasses will now run on a charge system and can be activated as long as there is more than 20% left of his charge. Activation lasts 10 seconds and needs 10 seconds for a full recharge. So they've removed the cooldown on Warden's use of his gadget. He can now control usage time and deactivate it manually with a maximum activation time of 10 seconds. His ability recharges at the same speed that it depletes. When fully depleted, it takes 10 seconds for it to be completely recharged. Both Mira and Goyo's Vector is getting a damage increase from 21 points up to 23 points of damage. We're also seeing some loadout changes. Dokkaebi loses frag grenades and will instead have stun grenades. Maverick is losing stun grenades and will now receive frag grenades. Nuck loses her Claymore and will now get frag grenades. Also, Ying loses her Claymore and will now get frag grenades. Additionally, the compensator attachment has been removed from all DMRs. Besides that, DMRs are also getting increased destruction for faster destruction of barricades, hatches, and soft surfaces. So as an incentive to selecting DMRs, they will now do higher environmental damage. Explosions are also getting a slight rework in the way that shrapnel is handled. They wanted to make it clearer to players when they were damaged due to shrapnel damage from the explosions. So damage taken by a player from an explosion is now determined by shrapnel damage. The new shrapnel damage will govern who is hit, how much damage is taken given the player's environment. It will apply reduced damage based on the number of objects it passes through from the origin of the explosion. Shrapnel damage should be more transparent in providing feedback to players on how they took damage or died. They're also improving how explosives interact in corners, where there is both a hard and a soft wall in the same corner. Likewise, they've improved how explosives interact in situations where an indestructible object like a beam can block destruction damage on nearby soft walls. A big change is now coming to how drones handle after the prep phase. Attackers will now have the option to stay in drone observation tools even when prep phase ends by selecting the Drone After Prep option in the options menu. If you choose this, you will no longer be automatically booted out of your drone once the prep phase comes to an end. This has the potential to be a huge game changer for the way you handle your drones in those early phases. Additionally, drones will no longer have random spawn points. The attacker drones will now always spawn on the same side of the building as your first selected spawn point. This change will give attackers more agency and coordination during prep phase, as well as help simplify orientation for new. You can still reselect your spawn point afterwards based on intel you gathered during the prep phase if you want. We're also seeing some changes come for caster HUD updates. So the HUD is getting a revamp. The new caster HUD gives the casters the ability to expand to all 10 players for a global overview of the game at any given moment, without the need to see the scoreboard or a specific player point of view. Player cards can also be toggled, allowing casters more flexibility for a specific situation, where they can choose between what we call condensed or expanded views. Condensed cards display the same amount of information as before, with added feedback for drones. You can follow a player point of view without missing any action on screen. Furthermore, expanded cards will allow all players' stats and operators' loadouts to be displayed simultaneously. Then there's a round header. By moving player information, we could get more space to keep improving the narration of the game. The header will now display team names and clear diffusing states when it happens. Some of you may have noticed that Terrorist Hunt appears to have been removed from the main menu screen. Well, it's still there, but they've changed the way that it's named. So the Terrorist Hunt playlist will be renamed to Training Grounds to better reflect what the community uses the playlist for. Terrorist Hunt Classic will be renamed to Elimination to more accurately depict the game mode players can expect when entering those games. So unfortunately, nothing has changed with Terrorist Hunt, except for the names. For game health, there are also now player report notifications. Players will receive notifications when a player they have reported has had an action taken against them. There's also now some data consolidation going on. To consolidate and reduce the overall game size, they've made some improvements with restructuring how game data is stored. This means the season patch will be bigger than normal. There's also a change for player loadouts. With the start of Year 5 Season 1, they're reworking how custom loadouts are saved in your player profile. If you log in at least once during Year 5 Season 1, they will be able to save and convert your custom loadouts to the new loadout format. Players who don't log in at least once during Season 1 will find a default loadout option upon logging in come Year 5 Season 2. Also, sadly, night maps are being removed from custom games. They say to better focus their team's resources on creating a newer and better Siege experience, we'll be removing support for night maps from custom game modes. I don't really know how the removal of night maps from custom modes is going to allow the team to have better resources focused on the rest of the game at large, but they say that somehow it does. They're also going into expanded operator bios, so the following operators are going to get more info for lore added to their operator backgrounds. So the following operators are getting more expanded information: Buck, Frost, Blackbeard, Valkyrie, Capito, Caveira, Echo, Hibana, Jackal, Mira, Legion Ying, Ella, Zofia, Dokkaebi, Vigil, Finka, and Lion. So that wraps up the patch notes for what is going to be coming for Operation Void Edge. All of this is coming to the technical test server on PC for the next 3 weeks. It is possible that some of these things may be subject to change during that test server period, but for right now, this is what's planned to come for the live season after the testing phase is over. As you can see, there were a lot of changes that were added beyond what was revealed in the Year 5 Season 1 reveal panel on Saturday. Now, we will of course be discussing all of this in our upcoming Rainbow Six Radio podcast that will be dropping in a day or two. If you want to listen to all of our thoughts and feedback on this stuff, then go ahead and give us a like and a follow on your favorite podcast delivery platform of choice. Just search for Rainbow Six, that's S-I-X, Radio, and also feel free to join our subreddit community. Just look for Rainbow Six Radio. Again, the 6 is spelled out, not the number 6, Rainbow Six Radio over on Reddit. You'll find links for all of our episodes there, as well as a community Q&A, idea posts, discussion panels, and more. Now, any other information that will be coming out in the coming week will of course be covering in any new videos, so if you haven't already, please do like and subscribe. Make sure you click that notification icon so you're alerted as soon as new content becomes available. You can also follow me over at IcyCat25 on either Facebook or Twitter. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.